Being in a relationship doesn't guarantee physical intimacy. Hi, I'm Jess, I'm 42. I like to wear what I want and show you that you can too, but I also like to talk about stuff, so let's get ready and talk about stuff. This topic is very important to me because I don't feel like it's talked about enough, but it affects so many different women and sometimes men. But I'm not a man. This is my experience as a woman, so I don't need you to go to my comments and say, but women sometimes too. There's a sort of unspoken rule that if you're in a relationship, there's some sort of guarantee to some level of intimacy. And although it is one of my favorite bonuses to being in a relationship, and it's one of my favorite things about being in a relationship, it's not guaranteed. I think a lot of people think because I got consent once when this started, and now we're in a committed relationship, I have open free range to consent. My partner is supposed to want me in that way, therefore it is sort of my right to have access to that physical intimacy at all times. In my opinion, you have to earn it every single time, just like you would outside of a relationship with someone that you just met. Enthusiastic consent only every single time. And yes, in my eyes, wearing down your partner after they say no the first time until they finally give in and say yes is in fact a form of sexual assault. And I don't think a lot of men see it that way. And your partner, wife, girlfriend, whoever it might be, is not withholding sex when they say no. I'm not sure about these pants, and I have another pair of pants, and I think it's going to be the other pair of pants. I think these are definitely better. No, I'm not saying this can't be an issue. I'm not saying this can't be hard. I'm not saying this can't make you feel undesired. There's a lot that comes with it when your partner is turning you down, and I understand that. Rejection is never fun. And mind you, I keep saying intimacy instead of sex because this is all forms of physical touch, especially in the intimate way, not just full-on sex. If it's hard for you and hurtful for you to be with someone who doesn't want that level of physical intimacy that you want, that's understandable. But if you've had a conversation with them and nothing is changing, the only option you have is to walk away and find someone who you're more compatible with, which isn't a fun conversation to have. You're allowed to want and need a certain level of physical intimacy in your relationship, but you're not allowed to put those needs and desires onto your partner through shame and guilt. Now, this is something I am very familiar with in my own personal life, and I would consider myself to be quite the physical person in a relationship. I love physical intimacy, all forms of it. I'm very touchy, I'm very feely, but that's when I feel safe. That's when I feel like you appreciate it. That's when I feel like it doesn't feel like it's an obligation. But I've also been in a situation where I essentially stopped desiring it altogether because it was an expectation. I was told that it was my job. I was told that I had to, that was my role to fulfill those needs because those were needs they couldn't fill on their own. I left that relationship thinking I hated it and I was never going to do it again because of how much of an obligation it became and how much pressure there was on it. And I would always say, if you just made it feel safe to say no, I think I would say yes a lot more often. I'm just so stressed out about it that it never feels like something I want. To my advice to somebody who is experiencing on the side where they want more physical intimacy and they feel like they're always having to beg for it or wear them down, let them know how safe they are to say no. Let them know how much you appreciate them for more than that and see if the tides start to change. There's so many things that goes on with a woman's body at any given time of the month that makes it feel impossible. And turning your partner down doesn't always feel good. Sometimes we want to and it's just things aren't going to happen. It's just not working. And to the people on the other side that have experienced this where they're constantly feeling like they're getting pushed into it and pressured into it, know that that is a form of assault. And you're allowed to say that out loud and you're allowed to have those feelings and those feelings are valid. And you're also allowed to walk away if it doesn't change. Just saying. Ready for a palette cleanser? It's gonna look really pretty on you. This color is gonna look really nice with your skin tone, I think. And you just put this one there. Oh, those muscles. Whew, those muscles. I think it fits. It's a little bit of a sausage. It's just a little sausagey. Palette cleanser. Okay, turn this way. Turn this way. Nope, it's really hard. Okay, that's as good as it's gonna get. High five. Oh, good high five. All right, I'm curious to see what everybody thinks about this in the comments. I always feel like there's a lot of different opinions about this topic, depending on who you're talking to. So I'm curious to see what you guys think, and we will see you in the next one.